to, in fact, make those kind of reductions now, then I guess when you said anything is on the table, you truly meant that. Because in the initial, I've done a few things. Number one was I said to every department and every site, with mostly the exception to special education, to be perfectly honest with you, and transportation, to take a 12% reduction in your budgets. At the first blush of that, and I don't think it's quite there, it's over 60 staff members. And that doesn't cover the unemployment, so it would be 20 more. So you're very close to between the 75 and 100 staff members. So I guess another method was looking at grade reconfiguration and a total redistricting of the geographic lines in the village elementary schools. I did not want to, the process of this is critically important. And I did not want to spend hours examining a philosophy or an option that the school committee says is not an option. So if I came to you tomorrow because as a graduate of BWB and said, BWB's the school, or I came to you tomorrow and said it's Osterville and your children go there, or whatever, or where Deborah's children went, or Tom's children went, if I came here and said, I'm recommending this, I suspect at some point the committee will turn to me and say, as superintendent of school, what is your recommendation? I'd love to just give you options and say, here, you do it, and I'll take your recommendation. But I really could use some parameters. And I think at this point, it becomes so palpably real, if that's even a word, that we need a very clear timeline and very clear, just crystal clear understandings that, in fact, anything is on the table. And then is it that the committee is going to look at me and say, what is your recommendation and my colleague's recommendation, the administrative leadership team's recommendation, as you just did tonight. You said cut $500,000 or bring $500,000 of cuts, and we'll take your recommendation. So I just want process clarity so that I can go from there.
Give direction to the superintendent so she knows, are there sacred cows? Are there not sacred cows? And what priorities would we have for the staff to be looking at for next year's cuts? Personally, I think, as far as I'm concerned, there are no sacred cows. Everything's on the table. My preference is that academics are the last resort, and that we would focus on non-academic areas first, because no matter what, as we've already pointed out, we still have to meet AYP. We still have to do MCAS. The state's not going to put testing on hiatus for a couple of years because there's no money to do the programs we need to do. But I think academics is the priority, and everything else is potentially expendable. And I know that's not what the student council members that were here earlier tonight want to hear, but sports, extracurricular stuff, I think we have to consider far more expendable than 40 kids in a classroom at the high school or 30 kids in the elementary schools. And I think we also have to be willing to consider raising fees or re-implementing fees in certain areas next year on some of the things that are costly, like transportation, sports, and the other extracurricular activities, and potentially make them completely fee funded if we want to continue with those programs. But I just think academics is our number one priority for protecting.
I think if we're looking at academics, I am definitely not in favor of large class sizes. particularly at the elementary level. A lot of the research indicates that smaller class sizes it's much more effective. Maybe at the high school level, these students are obligated to pass these MCAS tests. They're obligated to do. We're obligated to show that they have an annual yearly progress report, the AYP, which deals with No Child Left Behind. And I think in order to give them the best advantage is to keep class sizes as small as we possibly can. So that would be one area I would not be in favor of seeing an increase.
Into the bone, and it's going to be painful, and it's made doubly painful by the fact that when somebody is laid off, you have to lay additional people off in order to make it, in order to pay for what you're doing. I'll keep it at that, I guess.